Okay, so new base. That's Lord time. Secret powers of the planet. A few years had passed since that nightmare of a tragedy. When Oren awoke, he found that the girl and her brother were no longer with him. Was Eve really gone now for good? The loss of the girl had its grip over Oren's heart like an unbreakable fence. I couldn't protect Eve. Only I was strong. Then her death could have been avoided. The battle had left a chasm in Oren's heart. Now that Eve was gone, Oren had tasted for the first time just how terrifying a battle could be, and how devastating losing someone he treasured could be. He didn't have the heart to go on with his journey, not for now. However, there was still one thing on his mind that bothered him. It was Ningiris. Is it Ningiris? Ningiris. Yeah. Ningiris. And now Oren still had no idea where he had gone. No doubt despair had taken him, now that his beloved sister was no more. When Oren thought about how Ningirsu must be feeling right now, his heart became fraught with an unmovable weight. And that was exactly why Oren had to go after his childhood friend, as though the swordsman resumed his journey with Imduk. It was when panic was beginning to settle Oren's mind. Was it coincidence, or did the magnate that dwelled within him lead him to it? He stumbled across a diamond crawl. It occurred to Oren that this might lead to a clue. He could try and restore it and see if its communication system still worked. Oren succeeded in restoring the crawler and gained access to his communication systems, along with a number of records that detailed areas in which the swarms were active, and detailed the locations where many crawlers had been destroyed. Perhaps there was still some life left in those areas, and if there was, maybe they would know when Ngursu had gone. Armed with his new clue, Oren set off to the areas he had gleaned from the records. However, as useless the information was, and unfortunately didn't make Oren's expeditions that easy. There was nary a sign of life to be spotted anywhere. The journey was looking like it could end in vain. Nature incurring and unrelenting continued to batter the two mercilessly. But as a glimmer of hope, the end of the arduous tunnel, Oren and Imduk stumbled across the remaining tribes of the planet. That of the fiery recluses, the stalwart beasts, and the sacred lakeside trees. Although this encounter brought no clues as to Ningirsu's whereabouts, Oren and Imduk were blessed with the legends and knowledge of the tribes. And by linking them together, Oren was able to unlock a great secret and powerful world and witness the tremendous power that slumbered in its depths. boasting of world-child's powers that were bestowed upon him. But theirs was greater, far greater, running unbeknownst to the dwellers of the planets. Well, is this what Lee has thought, all in thoughts? Where were the more secrets? What would the more secrets well be? Whoa. Yes. Often must the rebirth records inscribe the history of the planet. Chronicles from generations long forgotten. And the other bygone memories of the planet's glorious age where humans ruled from the apex. Long ago, there was a god who ruled the skies. The dragon Khan as his disciples had perpetuated cycles of destructions and rebirth and retained the balance of realms. Now they scaled the destruction grew bigger each time, and one day, balance of the two was thrown into great disarray. Once this delicate balance toppled, even the sacred skies could not hold back the destructions it wrought. The god decided I could no longer oversee the skies by itself. His powers of creation brought forth layers and layers of the toughest earth and sealed the powers of destructions within. But now let's go, the power rage and rage until boil, and scorched the very earth moving it. The solar power rushed through the land and merged with the power of creation leaking out onto the surface. It became a small manifestation of the cycle of death and birth, and gave life to the land. With the last of his strength, the god then turned himself into Ki and entrusted to the life blooming on a planet without attention. In the years following its disappearance, the power of destruction re-emerged on the surface of the tower. However, every time it did, the life on the planet we used to kill with the help of the dragon path, rushed it back to whence it came. Over time the Ki came to be known as word, and the power of destruction as the great power. Thus the great legend of the world hero was born. Scarlet Timo, the sword swathed in white, may triumph over the great gods. They nerf your titles. Decades, centuries, maybe millennia passed since the beginnings of the rebirth records. The land was now populated with life known as humanity. The rest of civilization had gained scientific knowledge and technological know-how, and were at the height of their prosperity. The glory came at a cost, but not only tore the planet's gift away from it, but also the dragons it protected. Gods and the dragons that once were had faded to obscurity as mere tales. and during this time that the key was excavated and uncovered. The humans were exhilarated by such a legendary mistake to find. However, authenticity became gradually acknowledged, some expressed worries and doubts at the discovery. What did it mean for the key to resurface in this time? Was this an omen warning them of an eventual battle between the world hero and the great darkness like the legend said? Now that I can see that the key existed in its sword form, it does not also mean that our destructions were indeed sealed deep within the planet's crusts. Humanity began to assemble the finest to assemble the key. Within the team it had formed, there was a scientist who had shown her talents in all fields of medicine, astronomy, and archaeology. Her name was Lee. Lee was known all over the world as the foremost authority on computer science. The analysis was able to proceed smoothly thanks to an informant not long after. The team found itself as an organization called Crusadia, under the jurisdictions of the Confederations of Nations. I was then analyze the key further. They began to draft a plan that would help fight the imminent threats to their planets. It involves warrior with mechanical nature, and they called them Mech-Knights. Project Mech-Knight was received without moments delay. Meanwhile, Lee drove up a hypothesis and sought to validate it in secret. She wanted to get to the root of the appearance of the Great Darkness that world hero legend spoke of. According to legend and multiple tales of the key being used to drive back the Great Darkness, by harnessing the power of creation and destruction. As a simple enough story, the Great Darkness will appear, and the world hero fights it back with the key. However, the research prefers us to not be true, as using the key was the very thing that drew the Great Darkness nuts. For those who entrusted with a divine mission and the conspirators who sought to fight the powers of destructions, the world hero legend was ultimately the story of the power struggle over the key. Whoever has the key will control the fate of the world. Also, when Lee's hypotheses anyway. The more time she spent trying to validate it, the darker ambitions grew. The divine powers will be mine. And this is a lot of world. Years have now passed since Project Mech-Knight began. Finally, Mech-Knight of the Morning Star was complete. As we fit with a core powered by the key and possessing the power to fight the most deadly war. However, an incident occurred during its actual with none other than Lee as its sentinel. With the key set reversed by all of her celestial power, bolting through its mechanical fire and first them to the planet's core, faster than anyone can make move. He had planned all this out before taking place as a test spot. Power would have flown into the planet's core split the land. And once again, the destruction from within overflows the surface, causing the everyday Earth attitude. The entire world was beginning to split apart in this unprecedented disaster. And the time of the Great Darkness grew even nearer. However, its actual entry was not without obstacles. The Crusader created as assistive units 7 Mech-Knights in total. The remaining Mech-Knights face out against Mech-Knight of the Morning Star and destroy it. Sealing the Great Darkness back within the Earth once more. The Great Darkness will at the end of the day find force. One that mortals fail to seal away from the world. Inspired by the key, the team decided to put their powers into physical vessels of their own, and left them on the surface as legacies. Now that the lands were ruined, it was getting harder and harder to live in such conditions. It seemed that life on this planet would be gradually snuffed out, including humanity. The reason why the monster achieved the world he didn't appear in our time of being is because we humans drain the planets of its powers. For the Crusader begins to mobilize to put an end to human so-called glory. As it was the largest obstacle to the revival of the barren land in the planet's transition. And after 7 mechanics they built in the ruined world, after they were programmed instructions to help rekindle the planet. The mechanics were also installed with the data the Crusader members had a towership range linked with. The land could be healed once more and the planet take back power once again. And perhaps they could avoid imminent disaster. The Crusader left all the hopes that all right future they may not be. However, there was one thing he failed to realize. The master mind behind this instant was Lee, and she had already been taken by the burning land. When she was found, she was already dead. But only in flesh, and so had been released from the physical vessel, and she had transferred into the World Legacy World Chalice, the World of Knowledge. I think I have to read all these. Tremendous power dwells within the planet. That's the very thing that Lee was after. Fort Aurum, suddenly he was struck by a sense of terror. He could feel a great force of malice that threatened the planet, but from where, he could not tell. Now someone somewhere was beckoning to the darkness and to bring it forth. That it stopped them before another terrible disaster happened. And in that moment, in Aurum's mind, the figure of Yugioh appeared. The fear of a shrouded friend, so meant to establish on the loss of Eve, seeking darkness in this despair of the world. I felt like he could feel Yugioh's presence within the malice. It couldn't be. Aurum reigned his uneasy heart in, would need help to stop his malice. He asked the elders of each tribe to lend him their strength. And they answered his pleas with a great number of warriors, and the tribes united in a formidable alliance. In him themselves had the warriors of old, had the writing sculptors, and thus the second coming of the Crusader was born. The Crusader was taken to this spot by the tribe of the sacred trees, and after facing World Legacy World Crown. Aurum and his companions now obtained power that can help them combat the malice that threatened the world. The Crusader began to advance towards the giant tower at the center of all the malice. The orchestrated battle, towering into the sky in its metallic magnificence. Surrounding it with the office, mechanic weapons which are standby in silent formation. And the tower base hosting Yugioh, an activated World Legacy World 1 was the only thing on his mind. At Aurum, he seen his child friend Swordsman could only think about how much sad he was. Aurum prayed that he was only overthinking the situation, but he knew that the reality was uncanny. Yugioh was here because he wanted the power of darkness, and he was at the center of the knowledge ball of influence. That was the truth that awaited him at the end of his long search. But no matter how much time had passed, no matter how things had changed, the one thing that remained the same was that Yugioh was still his friend. Aurum thought about what he could do now that he was here. But to stop Yugioh from starting a disaster, the end of the world. And one who can stop this film is me. Aurum fought, gathering all his courage. The signal of his companions to mobilize. And now, the battle is about to begin. And what I want is a JRPG. Okay, so it's not completely original. But like, I would play a JRPG. If they made one, I would play a JRPG or World Legacy. Yugioh Sorrow. When Yugioh saw what happened, a bolt of guilt pierced through his grief. Even in his desperation, he never imagined this would happen. His eye could hardly believe what they were seeing. How did all this happen so fast? He prayed I was dreaming and I was going to wake soon. All he wanted was to see his dearest sister again. But the scene of another nightmare unfolded around him. He became embroiled in a storm of emotions. I need to save Eve. Even as his mind was numbed with stupor, Yugioh's body began to move without command. And what looked like an impulsive choice, he struck his childhood friend unconscious. He both the other man's sword and Eve. What good was this world if Eve were not in it? He would not able to do anything, be good or evil, if a man like to see a smile again. Nothing no force of getting sister back was all Yugioh needed to force his weary limbs forward. He had the magnetic force from when the 6 nightmares were defeated. And now he also had the sword he took from all of them. Using the facilities that were still present in Magnite's headquarters, he analyzed the artifacts with feverish desperation. This world possessed a mystical power similar to that of the World Legacy, and if anything had a clue regarding specifics, it would be the Magnites. He might even have a way to bring Key back. Although he was unable to glean a way to resurrect Eve, he learned a great deal about a number of facilities from the ancient civilization. Yugioh left the Magnite headquarters and set out to each one of them with the lifeless body of his sister in tow. Many of the facilities he visited had already ceased to work, and the ones that barely did, without little to no useful information. Albert, Yugioh navigator, must be awake as a leaves on them. With that unwavering belief in his heart, he resumed his grueling journey. Finally, at long last, he discovered an ancient facility that was still in working condition. Oh, the dog. After countless weary worlds walked, Yugioh had gone through more information than any average man would in his life. Had thoroughly inspected the Magnite's cores and several ancient facilities. With what he had gathered, including files on the keys and technologies thought to be long lost, he had finally unlocked the secrets hidden within the planet. The truth of the world had been shrouded in mystery. Yugioh trembled with joy. He could revive his sister now. With his newfound certainty, Yugioh set about operated vessel after House Yee's soul using the ancient technology. However, this task was to be the most difficult yet. Trial after trial resulted in countless failures and their byproducts. And as the days ticked by, he had amassed enough vessels to reach his own army. Alas, his effort paid off. He finally created a mechanical doll that would work. By synchronizing the doll with the body of his dead sister, he also succeeded in reinitializing the functions of one of the Twin Swords fighter to his plan. So much time has been poured into this endeavor, but at least there was something to show for it. A strange sense of elation began to bubble within Yugioh. His sister had given her life for this world, now it's time for him to create a new world for her. Now then use them Keko's powers to set out a plan to build orchestrated Babel the primary begin. What makes you created Deputy? This deck can allow you to link summon multiple times, especially when using tandem monsters. Use effect lets you special summon to a zone early guys point. Use this advantage and summon even more powerful link monsters if you Crusader link monsters also gain a helpful boost in attack on monsters that they point to. Also you attack by summoning your more powerful monsters, also Crusader. Summon Crusader Equinox in the Duels. First normal summon Crusader with Lucia, used as a link method when summon Crusader Maggies. Special summon this card from the hand in defense position just on the link margin police. You know the special summon Crusader with Lucia and Mercedes Link. This card is normal special summon, just summon a link monster point so you can target one Crusader party control and target opponent controls destroyed. Next special summon Crusade the Leonis and activating effect Crusader Magnus. Crusader monster is set himself. Gains attack equals to the original attack the monster card points to. The monster this card points to an attack, but if that monster one Crusader monster from the deck to hand. Special summon card, defense position. Once put you can target one Crusader master control this time. Prevent the opponent with monster, any battle damage direct your opponent's doubled. Also the monster you control and attack it. Regular. Especially two of 10 monsters, including the Crusader monster, gains attack. So up down. I can say this spell. Oh, so say I can target one link. Mix 2 plus monster, including link monster against attack. Much better, quick fan control 1 Crusader will legacy monsters got 1.